All right, so the breaking news of the hour is Ezekiel Elliott is reunited, and it feels so good. Come on, Zeke is back, baby, so feed Zeke or what have you. He had 184 carries last season. He had 643 yards, 3 touchdowns. He averaged 3.5 yards per carry. And with that being said, yards after contact, 2.54 were yards after contact. Forced missed tackles with 24, and explosive runs, how they count this and measure this is runs above 10 yards or more. He had 8 of them, and that is a situation. Now, as far as receiving, he had 51 receptions last season with 313 yards, and that was his complete job at the Patriots lands. Now, granted, I got to throw this in just for comparables. You know, Royce Freeman, he had 77 carries for 319, and he averaged 4.1 yards per tote and 2 touchdowns. To add in with these 77 carries, he had 7 explosive yards. And that's how you quantify explosive yards. Like I said, is yards that's ran of more than 10 yards, right? So he had 7 of them. Zeke had 8. Now, that you can go back and forth how those numbers look, but to me personally, Royce will be a little bit tad more explosive than Zeke, and he's a little bit more of a power back than Zeke, but Zeke gives you catching in the backfield, and on top of that, he's a better blocker, so that's one of the things that we can look at. Run blocking, pass pro, Zeke will be better in this particular situation. Being able to have a nose in the red zone, you have the combination of both veterans. That is a good thing for us, not a bad thing. So when you start to think about this offensive line, the lack of experiences that this offensive line may have, far as Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton, well, if you add in Zeke, his pass pro or his pass blocking skill set should be able to help alleviate some of those things. And on top of that, when you look at the complete body of work with Zeke, teams at times will look at it and still say to themselves, to a degree, let's make sure that we respect Zeke if he's running a certain down and out distance. And for your short yardages, maybe, just maybe, you can add back to the play action game. Last season, a short yardage situation, teams was like, oh man, they waved off the Cowboys. They didn't really respect that. But now you got Zeke. He will be able to get those dirty yards for you, or add in to the fact that you will have, dare I say, an explosive situation out of the Dallas Cowboys in those short to intermediate runs. Now, granted, I will tell you guys this, the complete depth charts of the Cowboys, or for the Cowboys running back room, looks similar to this right here. Shout out to Todd Archer. He got this report up real quickly. He said the Cowboys running room will look like this: Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Didal, Royce Freeman, and as well as Tiny Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Luepke, Snoop Connor, as well as Nate Pete. And let's not forget about Malik Davis. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs. That's a lot of running backs. So there will be cut time for your mind. And I don't want the Cowboys to look at this and say that they are satisfied. I still think that there will be other free agents out there for running backs. Don't fall in love with these guys. Always keep your head on a swivel. Always looking. Always looking. I think that the Jets got a whole plethora of running backs on their squad. I've seen a tweet out there from one of my guys who tweeted out, hey, if push comes to shove, shout out to Outlaw Cowboy. Yeah. He posted this one. He said, if I'm Jerry, I'm calling the Jets up about Israel, Adabada Kande, however you say that man's name. He's really fast. And then the Jets already have Breece Hall. They have a Breland Allen. They have Isaiah Davis. So Izzy A on the depth chart would be a great thing. So the Cowboys, if they're looking at this thing, and we do know injuries will occur too, right? Always keep your head on the swivel, keep your hand on the phone, and make sure that you are doing your evaluation for running backs. Far as us looking at this running back room collectively, do you foresee that it's okay with just Zeke and Rico and Royce Freeman? No. As far as remuneration for Ezekiel Elliott, we already got $6 million of dead money on the books. I'm quite sure that they're going to work out maybe a vet minimum that should be anywhere between 1.5 million to 2, or it could be a situation where it's they load Zeke contract up with all these incentives and things like that. So you can't get mad at it from that aspect of it. But I will tell you, once again, when you look at Zeke, you got your pass protector there. You already have a guy that's familiar with the locker room, familiar with the area, familiar with whatever we may do during the offseason to prepare and get these guys going. And on top of that, he can be a bridge to help out the youth. So all of those things come into play. But I got to put my conspiracy hat on. I think that the Cowboys ultimately didn't want to draft a running back if it wasn't Jonathan Brooks. And they already had their mind set that they was going to bring back Zeke. I got information and data on my phone, and I know you guys heard me say this. Hey, they were already signing Zeke before even the draft kicked off, so their mind was already made, and that's just how it is. Shout out to new media, too, by the way, because we heard that information weeks ago, right? So what I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see how this all play out, whether or not it was a good move to just, overlook the running backs because you already had in your mind what you wanted to do, a made-up mind, right? And that's just how it goes. Here's my final thoughts on Zeke being back in the silver and blue. Get it done, man. Hey, it's good to have you back, because the last image we had of Ezekiel Elliott here was when he was playing center. That was just crazy. So it's good to see you back, man. Let's go get these yards. Let's be positive about this, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, those who can't stand Zeke will be cheering for Zeke when he scored that touchdown. Those who can't stand Zeke will be cheering for Zeke when he get that first down. Those who can't stand Zeke will be cheering for Zeke when you see him keep your quarterback upright, right? So let's stop hating on the man. Let's congratulate the guy. Let him finish his career out with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get it one way or another, Cowboy Nation. Post me your thoughts. Post me your concerns down below. Hey, Ezekiel Elliott reunited, and it feels so good. Hey, and this is what the Cowboys do, by the way. Who's old enough to remember that they brought back Herschel Walker? Jerry ain't slick. He brought back Herschel. Who remember that? Some of y'all not old enough to remember that. DC for life, not for short. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys.